Okay, this is my October review of my 32 gallon Biocube LED tank. Everything's coming along really well. My growth is crazy. If you watch the previous video, you'll see that purple monster colony is just growing a bunch of heads. Those are red hornets, got a bunch of those sprouting. Everything's growing like weeds. My monoporas are encrusting and spreading like crazy. That's my silver bullet money. Courtiers do good. I got a couple extra or new corals here. That's an Easter egg chalice, pretty good. Rainbow Cephastria. It's called a Vietnamese Yuma to the left there, next to my bright orange Indo. Supposedly like a Godzilla Yuma or something. Really cool. Everything's doing great. SPS is still doing really well. Everything's branching. My orange passing back there, I actually whacked it by accident, but I glued it back and it's encrusting the piece that broke off. So everything's doing very well. Make sure I get a filter on here to kind of get a better look at the corals. With that intense blue light, I know it's a little rough. Let's see. Okay, that's better. But see the Easter egg chalice. You can see my Looney Tunes Gonapora. Got some firework cloves in the back there. But everything's growing really well. That's our rainbow worldwide corals, rainbow madness Cephastria, Main Streak Monty, Darth Maul chalice. There's my Indo, bright orange, and there's that real pretty, tough to get the good colors on it, but there we go. It doesn't do it justice how these guys look. And there's my Jason Fox Beach Bum Monty. That one's tough to see the colors too, but you can see my silver bullet monopora back there behind my purple gorgonian. It's doing really well. Everything's doing awesome. Still trying to get rid of these two bubble tips. They won't leave those two holes that they're anchored in, so once they finally do, I will remove them from this tank and move them somewhere else. But yeah, everything's going great. SPS, pretty much mixed reef. Zoas, monoporas, recordias, mushrooms, a little bit of everything in this tank. But everything's doing real well. Bird's nest, different Teniuses. There's my Jason Fox jack-o'-lantern back there. It's kind of getting beat up by that mushroom a little bit, so I'm going to have to move him, I think. But yeah, other than that, everything's going real well. Pretty good update. Healthy tank. Parameters right now, my DKH is at alkalinity is at 8. That's a branching rainbow Cephastria. Really cool coral. That's a yellow with like purple dot mushroom. Really neat. Some macros. They're growing out. But yeah, my alkalinity is at 8. It's a little lower than I wanted it to be. I upped the dosing just a little bit. That's the key, obviously. Don't increase dosing crazy amount. I literally added only 30 seconds each to my alkalinity and calcium intake. Calcium is right around 415. Magnesium is low. I thought I was getting plenty with my weekly 5 gallon water changes, but apparently not. So it's at 1200 right now, and I want around at least 1350 to 1400. So I'm actually starting to dose magnesium, which I didn't think I had to, like I said, because my Red Sea blue bucket with the magnesium levels in there when I do a 5 gallon water change on this tank is pretty significant for weekly water change. Still not keeping up, so I'm bumping up that. I'm gonna start dosing that. But yeah, everything's good. Only difference that I changed, my Digital Aquatics Reef Keeper Elite actually went on me. I was praising how old the thing was and how long it's lasted me, and the screen fried and it was messing up the power strip. So I went with the Profilux Mini Wi-Fi. Really happy with this controller. It's really cool. Basically, it monitors my pH and my temp, and it's got a 4 energy bar, 4 plug-in. Whoops. 4 plug-in energy bar, and it runs my dosers and 2 other obviously outlets. Still using the bulk resupply, 1.1 milliliter per minute peristaltic dosers. Those are good. I'm dosing Reef Pro A and B, which I am a huge fan of. I highly recommend it for a reef tank. My other temperature control, like I said, now I have 3 levels of redundancy for my temperature controller. It's an innovative marine. It's connected to a heater with its own temperature on-off set for 78. That's set for 78. And I have it plugged into, my Profilux now. And it's not, the Profilux isn't basically turning that off and on. It's plugged into that, so if the temperature for some reason reaches, let's say like 81 degrees, this will turn everything off, turn off the main power. So that has to fail, that has to fail, and the temperature, my actual heating element in the back plugged in has to fail. So 3 forms of redundancy, which is pretty good. So running my cheapo Higer from Amazon. It's actually a really good little pump. I am looking to upgrade though, to get maybe like an MP10 or a Nero, AI Nero 5 or 3. Haven't decided yet, but I'm happy with the way things go now. I just know when stuff starts growing out a little bit more and water flow starts getting blocked, those two are probably not going to be significant enough. But my 5-gallon reservoir for auto top off thing lasts me forever. I guess get that off of Amazon. And like I think I mentioned in the last video, just make sure you drill a small hole in the back so it doesn't create a siphon, or it doesn't create a pressure to where water won't come out. But that's my Avast. Auto top off. Let's go to the back. This is with my dose. I got this online. Can't remember who makes this, but it's basically a 3D printed dose holder. And I wanted something specifically to mount to grab the lip of this, because when my water shuts off in my tank and the water rises, I don't want it to touch these hoses. So let's say the power goes out, it won't back siphon because it has to come up above it. Plus with the peristaltic dosing pumps, it won't allow it to back siphon. I just don't want the salt water to be hitting my my dosing tubes. So this mounts perfectly, so when the water does shut off, it drops below it. So, or raises up just below it so it doesn't touch it. Both my auto top off elements, which is autotopoff.com. I've always been a big fan of these. I've used them for many, many years. They are the pressure switches, but again, I have a redundancy. This is a backup one just above the water height. So it's all plugged in. So again, this has to fail, and then this has to fail. So I'm pretty confident in it. My 2 probes. There's my filtration in the back. You can see it just goes into that container, which has got ChemiPure Elite Blue, or ChemiPure Elite and ChemiPure Blue. I just run both of those in there with a little filter pad on top, which I change out every 2 to 3 days. I throw it away, which again is a big convenience. I don't have to worry about filter socks and stuff. I cut them to size. Again, got a huge sheet off Amazon for dirt cheap. So I just cut them to that little square every couple of days, toss in the trash. I'm really happy with my Radeon XR15. This is my first Radeon I've ever owned. I've had AI Souls, and I've had power modules. So, I mean T5s, but I'm a huge fan of this light, man. The functionality of it and the corals, absolutely love it. I run it at 50%, just how shallow this tank is, and 50% is a ton of light. It's also, the fan rarely ever kicks on, which obviously can help the life of the light, extending it. But like I say, so about 8 inches off the top, and everything in here gets tons of light. But there's my exquisite rasp, my clowns, bang high in the back, pink streaks in there somewhere, tail spot blinnies in there somewhere, but everything's doing good. You can pick up that color of that Easter egg chalice, but I really like it. It's like a purple, tough to pick it up with this, but purple with like a yellowish green eyes. Comes in more green with the filter, but very cool. That was a new addition. That's another rainbow Cephastria, a different variant. Tough to see the colors on there, but that's more like a green, bright orange with yellow. That's a Worldwide Corals Rainbow Madness Cephastria. Again, it's not really picking up the, but that one's more of a blue with yellow and orange, but really cool. But yeah, everything's doing really well. This is an update for October, so we'll see how it looks in November. And if you look at some of my older videos, people that tune into this channel, if they actually see this video, you'll see the tanks I used to have, SPS dominant and bigger tanks, but it shows you can have a tank this size and have no problem.